Good morning.
Good morning.
Gotta find my script because I didn't fill it out beforehand. My name is Mo. I am the president of the fellowship this year. Come whoever you are, holding various beliefs, whatever your skin color, whatever your age or gender identity, whatever your abilities, whomever you are. You are welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Statesboro. You are welcome in this, our road. We would like to extend a warm welcome to any of our visitors and guests this morning. If you would like, we invite you to take a moment now to introduce yourself. For the month of April, I did this last week too. I was like, what month is it? For the month of April, half of our offering that is not designated as a pledge will be shared with Keep Statesboro, the beautiful. I realize I've been like happy. Thank you for sharing the resources with us during the offertory daily service. Now I would like to invite you to join with me in sharing our congregational affirmations, which is
Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Our worship leader this morning is Rev Samara.
I need to find a place for my copy up here. I have some opening words for you today. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
The first time I walked into a UU church, more than 10 years ago, was a result of weeks of yearning my spirit. On the way up to the building on the day I finally decided to go for the first time, I almost felt this wall of resistance that I had to push through just to make it to the front door. That resistance arose from my own desire, both known, subconscious, and subconscious, I'm sure, to protect myself from abuses of power. And I was walking into that building carrying some heavy-duty assumptions and experiences of religion as being a source of abuse of power. But I made it into the door. And I was grateful to have experienced something positive and soul-nourishing that day, enough to make me want to come back. The fact of the matter is 90% of UUs, last time we counted, come to Unitarian Universalism from other faith traditions, or like me, from no prior faith tradition. I felt the pressure of religion's bad name, however. A bad name is rightfully earned. That is rightfully earned in many quarters, as a physical weight in my body. Today will not be a sales pitch to join this church. It will not be about pressuring you to do something you do not enthusiastically consent to. What I hope today will be is a frame for at least a piece of the complexity of religious trauma to begin to be addressed in a way that is meaningful to you. To surface the truth of it in our congregations, in our hearts, in our bodies, and to offer broad brushstrokes of an outline of how to begin breaking it down into manageable pieces we might have a hope of metabolizing. If at any point you feel the need to leave the room, please do so. If you need to get up and move around, take a few deep breaths, please do so. I hope you will come back at some point. I hope we will have earned your trust enough to make it possible for you to come back. Come, let us kindle this sacred space together. Our chalice lighting. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith. It represents hope and liberation, and originated during World War II as a signal of safe harbor for those escaping the ravages of oppression. We light our chalice at the beginning of each service to sanctify the space and to mark holy time. Today's chalice lighting words are written by Reverend Maureen Florin, And after I light the chalice, you will be invited to join in singing our chalice response, Rise Up, O Flame, which will come after. For now, I offer you these words. In need of healing. Welcome, you who come in need of healing. You who are confused or who have been betrayed. Welcome with your problems and your pain. Welcome to your joys and your wonderings. Welcome your need to hope, your longing for assurance. Instead of answers, here may you find safety for your questions. Instead of promises, may you find community for your struggles. People with hands and hearts to join you in engaging the challenges and changes of our day. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing our chalice response. Rise up, O flame, light my glory, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, light my glory, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. And while you're there, please feel free to greet one another.
Well, we had to have a couple of Too late.
I'm beginning to wash my hands now.
However,
hey John, good to see you.
Everybody says that the period after is something we're really not.
You have COVID? Is that what that is?
I have no idea. I just had a cough and stuff like that. And about 2 weeks ago, I had a fever. So, like I said, I think I'm on the tail end, which is normally not considered infectious. But
Hey everybody, it's Rob.
Okay, we have an opening hymn today. I've been wanting to add opening hymns before the story wisdom because I feel like music is such an important part of things. Oh, and that's my stuff. You can just shove that on the ground today if you want. I'm not used to people in front rows. I feel that music is such an important part of our worship together, and I wanted to give the children another chance to experience music before we do the story. So our opening hymn is How Could Anyone Ever Tell You? It's number 1053 in the teal hymnal. You might have to share, and the words are also on the screen for those who find that useful. Please rise in body or spirit, and we'll sing our opening hymn. Soul. I want to hear it. Anybody who is young or young at heart and wants to come down for the story, please come on down.
Do you see, the Reverend knows that I am not young, and my niece heard when I laid on the first one. Thank you. You're so welcome. All right. All right, so today's story is something that I've actually read to many littles in my time working with children. So I'm super excited this is the story for today. I am every good thing. I am a non-stop ball of energy, powerful and full of life. I am a go-getter, a difference maker, a leader. I am every good thing that makes the world go round. You know, like gravity or the glow of moonbeams over a field of brand new snow. I am good to the core, like the center of a cinnamon roll. Yeah, that good. I am skateboard tricks, scraped knees and elbows. And you know what? I am right back up on my feet again. I am one eye open, one eye closed, peeking through a microscope, gazing through a telescope, checking out the spaces around me, and plotting out those far-off places I have yet to go, but will. I am a gentleman and a scholar. I am kind and polite, like yes ma'am and yes sir, helping my grandmother across the street and saying bless you when a stranger has a sneeze. I'm a cool breeze, a perfect paper airplane that glides for blocks, for miles, forever. I am a roaring flame of creativity. I am a lightning round of questions and a star-filled sky of solutions. I am an explorer planting a flag on every square foot of this planet where I belong. I am a sponge soaking up information, knowledge, and wisdom. I want it all, and I am all ears. I am Saturday mornings in the summertime. I am 2 bounces and a front flip off the diving board. I am hilarious. I am the life of the party. I am that smile forming on your face right now. I'm the boom bap when the bass line thumps and the kick drum jumps. I'm the perfect beat, the perfect rhyme, keeping everything on point and always on time, but you already knew that. I am a grand slam, bases fully loaded. I'm a nasty 2-handed dunk, holding onto the rim just to remind you that I am still the man. Believe that. I am the undisputed champion. I am a highlight reel of magnificence. I am the celebration, the applause, the standing ovation. I am victory. I am a brother, a son, a nephew, a favorite cousin, a grandson. I am a friend. I am real. I am tight hugs and a hand to hold, a shoulder to cry on if you have to. I hope you never have to. I am here. Although I am something like a superhero every now and again, I am afraid. I am not what they might call me. I will not answer to my name that is not my own. I am what I say I am. I am that sound in the forest when the mighty tree falls. I am waves crashing gently on the shore. I am a force of nature, a blessing, a miracle. I am brave. I am hope.
I am my ancestors' wildest dream. I am worthy of success, of respect, of safety, of kindness, of happiness. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am worthy to be loved. I am worthy to be loved.
And so are you. Thank you, Trinity. All right, we're going to do our children's affirmation. Who knows a children's affirmation with the hand motions? All right, does anybody feel able to come up to the front and help lead in our children's affirmation? We're all going to say it together and do the hand motions. Ready?
We are Unitarian Universalists, people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to make the bridge in the aisle and sing the children to their classes.
You're too tall for me. You should let Martin do it. Go ahead. Come on.
Keep our arms, we shelter you. You warm our hearts as you pass through. May our love guide you as you go to help you learn and help you grow.
All right. Now is the time in our service when we invite you to make an offering of your treasure to support the work of this church, both within and beyond these walls. If today is your first time with us, please do not feel obligated to contribute. You are our guest today. If you are not the type to carry cash, you may choose instead to donate online. We can use this QR code or go to our website where there is a donate button. If your treasure is scarce, but you would like to make an offering of your time, for your passion, for your talents towards the thriving of this community, please feel free to chat with us after the service. All types of treasure are gratefully welcomed and appreciated. Will you make some thanks for us for the offering? So today's service has the potential to be a doozy. But Mo and I talked about it ahead of time, and there's a song that he really likes, and we've been trying to fit it into the service for months, y'all. So we're going to offer this story, this piece of this story and this song as our moment for reflection. You may notice there is a content warning for mention of religion and explicit language. So, gird your loins.
I just stand right here and do my
Please do, yes.
because this song is very oddly specific.
Are you speaking in the micro?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
Is that better? This song is oddly specific, and so Samara asked me to share about like my personal journey with this song. It's really hard to condense a lifetime of like spiritual experiences into how I feel about this song in a very short blurb. But I think if I were going to say anything about this song as context, it would be that having grown up as religious as I was, because my mom was a pastor when I was young, and then my family converted to Catholicism. And so I grew up all in and out of the church, and was the kind of Christian where, like, it was my whole life. It was everything for me. And I was the kind of Christian where I actually want to read this one sentence because I wrote it very well. I was the kind of Christian where I was constantly seeking redemption for just existing. And my teen years in particular were spent not even believing that I was supposed to be alive. And I was constantly trying to get more involved with my church, with my faith, to do whatever I needed to do to access redemption, whatever that meant for me at the time. And I just really did not believe that I was ever meant to be forgiven. Like, I truly believed that I was just born defective. And I read previous journals that I've written during that time of my life, and there are sentences where it says that, like, I'm just defective. And as an adult, like, I know that is not true. But leaving Christianity was a really painful, gaping wound for me. Because one of the questions that was left behind when I did decide to leave my faith was, why wasn't I good enough? Why wasn't anything that I did ever good enough? And so, like, when I heard this song for the first time, it sort of, like, really spoke to this younger version of me who's still kind of wondering, like, why wasn't I good enough to be saved? And so the song, it's when you look at the lyrics, it's all about these kind of big questions about why do bad things happen in the world. But for me, when I sing this song, I'm really channeling this deep question of why wasn't I good enough for the God of my childhood, and all of the anger and grief that comes out through that. So thank you in advance for allowing me to express this kind of deep level of vulnerability with y'all on this one.
I've been wondering
religious trauma may seem like a really unusual topic for a worship service. But last time I checked, like I said, 90% of UUs come to this faith from other traditions or from no traditions at all, and it's probably safe to say that some number of us are here in flight from other traditions. Not because of the fault of the traditions, but the ways that they have been exercised. And on any given Sunday, we may have guests struggling with the seeming conflicts between their history and their longing for spiritual community. Earlier this year, when we were exploring ideas for connection out in the Statesboro community, I had offered to do a community-based workshop on religious trauma, and there was, to put it mildly, a lot of interest in this community. And considering one of the challenges of this era of our nation, and the existence of churches, even churches nearby, who are employing high control exercise of doctrine right here in our town, let alone in the country more broadly, it seemed relevant enough to bring up any way I could. There are implications for those of us who consider this UU community our home, our religious home, in being able to offer a meaningful welcome and continued presence needed to foster trust building and belonging and maybe even healing, to show up in ways that are trustworthy for those in spiritual crisis. Adrienne Marie Brown calls this pace moving at the speed of trust. We won't be able to be everything to all people, nor should we try to be. And there is something in us that longs to gather in meaning making. We are made for it, for connection. So it seemed worth talking about. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm not an expert on religious trauma or a scholar. I am a faith leader. I'm a faith leader who leads using trauma-informed tools and practices. And so I have to say here that religious trauma is itself a massive topic that needs far more than a single hour-long worship service or even community workshop to hope to address. So what might we hope to do today? How do we here, participating in this service today, tap into what might actually be a lifelong quest for healing and spiritual reclamation? When I approach the topic of religious trauma from that lens, I want to consider two levels of harm and the two coordinating layers of reclaiming spiritual wholeness. The harm done to and the reclaiming of the sense of self. And the harm done to and reclaiming our capacity to connect with others in spiritual community. So religious trauma can happen when religious authority or doctrine, or both, are weaponized, becoming tools for control and domination. And one way to think about this is as if shame or fear are used to control the behaviors of the members of the community. This amounts to a particularly insidious form of coercion. And coercion cares more about compliance than spiritual inquiry. In those frameworks, it isn't important what you want or what your spirit needs. In fact, your spiritual needs may be barriers to that control. And so your spiritual needs may be positioned as irrelevant or shameful or prideful, etc., etc., etc. That kind of culture of control may result in a sort of internal gaslighting that happens, a self-doubt so central and far inside of us that it erodes our senses of ourselves. And it injures our sense of agency and damages our ability to trust our own senses, our own feelings, our own judgment. It's one of the reasons, not all, but one of the reasons that people stay in abusive situations despite all the reasons to leave. It takes time to rebuild a sense of self that has been wounded in this way. Patience, self-kindness, compassion, and understanding are all ingredients in that process. Even holding grace for yourself or the pendulum swings of healing. Reconnecting to what is safe enough to be meaningful to you is one way of beginning to recalibrate your spiritual compass. It takes practice. So because I am a practical person, and Unitarian Universalism is a practical faith, as some of you may have heard me say before, I would like to invite you now, shortly, into a moment of that practice. I will give us 2 to 3 minutes so that we can reflect on a time. Reflect on a time, if you will. You may choose to just meditate in silence if that is your choice. But I invite you to reflect on a time when you felt enjoyment in your task, or you felt whole or joyful or soul satisfied. It might be very simple, like jumping on a trampoline when you were a kid, or a favorite reading nook or blanket. It all counts. This is a practice to reconnect in the privacy of our own minds and hearts for just a moment. And if you don't come up with an answer from history, that's okay. You can focus on the stillness, or you may choose to take these 2 to 3 minutes to imagine something for your future that might help you feel those things. Something small, something mundane. And as you're doing this, just notice what comes up in your mind, what comes up in your body. How is your body feeling? Your mind, your belly, your arms, your skin. What comes up for you when you reflect in this way? You may take care of your body however you need to, including getting up or leaving the room, and I will bring the bowl here to gather your attention in 2 to 3 minutes. Please meditate as you will. Reclaiming agency and reclaiming self, reclaiming the self relationship. Can be done in small moves. It all counts. So During my internship at another Georgia congregation, I was running this small group project that was derailed first by a hurricane and then by an election. But nobody was quite willing to give up on the project completely. And so in order to respond to both their needs and their capacities, I invited the group participants to join me in a check-in meeting. Zugesund. Zugesund is Yiddish for bless you. And I say Zugesund to connect to my grandmother. She also said sneeze on the truth. So I'm just saying. So I invited the group participants to join me in a check-in meeting to see if we could just figure out how to proceed. I intentionally did not create an agenda for that meeting, and instead intended only to hold an open container for us to pour into it whatever we could of our stories, to share openly with each other about how we were doing, about the struggles, the fears that we were facing, our hopes. And at the end of that 90-minute meeting, we left that circle with our hearts and spirits utterly full. Full and nourished and loving. It was like its own miracle of the loaves and fishes. We arrived hungry, and fullness was made manifest out of the miraculous nourishment of our shared presence. Our presence multiplied our spiritual nourishment, seemingly out of nothing. This is what soulful spiritual community can do. I hope that is what it tries to do. I hope that is what we try to do. Spiritual community can help us co-create together something that we cannot possibly create on our own. It is the gorgeousness of that synergy. And it does take an act of faith to lean into it again and again, even when it seems to be troubling or failing or otherwise tests our peace, or even when we make mistakes. At its heart, a spiritual community, if it is directed by and led by and fueled by our shared presence, we can grow together in ways that we cannot grow alone. We can respond together. We can transform together. And if we are respecting each other's agency, respecting each other's gifts, our limitations, our journey, and holding ourselves and each other in loving accountability, this is a vastly different experience than shaming. If we are offering companionship and nurture along the way, eventually in the practice of it, we may find ourselves arriving within the beloved community of our deepest longing. It may not happen in our lifetimes. So the journey itself must be nourishing and sustainable and full of whatever it is that is needed to make it working, to make it work, and to make the working towards it worthwhile and sacred and sustainable. I'll invite a second moment of reflection, this time turning to your neighbor, wherever you're seated. And if you will, share about a time when you have been part of a group that really made you feel connected and thriving. Like when you felt your own wholeness supported because you were part of something. Maybe it was a school club or a work or athletic team or a theater production, anything like that. Can you share that moment when the beauty of collaboration helped you to feel more alive, more purposeful, and more connected? As you turn to your neighbor, please make sure everyone who wishes to share has a chance to do so, and of course you're not obligated. And folks online, I hope you will share with us in the chat if you feel moved to do so. We will give some time in the service to read what you write. I'll gather your attention in about 4 minutes with the singing bowl.
I must be blind because I seem to trigger people at least slightly. Not usually. You're saying with I don't know if you saw this thing that was kind of the bad in our society, giving drugs for depression and so forth. It's interesting because I'm not. That's actually I just well, you know, it's interesting because there's no one face to divorce that you can learn very well. So the people that really well see express why they're not but I think there's a song that one of the that was interesting. I know better than we you know, in general, I try not to do that. So even if I do it, I try to disclaimer. Usually when I do that, I try to just because I'm tired of I just thought you might be interested in seeing this. You may not really want to respond, especially on Facebook.
About one more minute. Make me ring the bell again. We're a lot of UUs in this room. I probably should do that.
I want to close out this message for today with two quotes to hold in companionship. One of them is a quote by Peter Levine that says, "Trauma is not what happens to us, but what we hold inside in the absence of empathetic witness." And another quote by Paul Stephen Dodenhoff, who said, "The freedom to doubt, to question, to be content." I forgot to ask if we have any comments in the chat. Did we ever have anybody that said, okay. The freedom to doubt, to question, to be content to live in mystery is central to the liberal religious tradition. Like the process of evolution itself, the path that we follow, our practice, if you will, is not easy or simple. It doesn't guarantee that all our conclusions will be final, or that we will ever find an answer to all of our questions. But also, like the process of evolution, it is filled with great expressions of beauty and awe that are sometimes born of great struggle, and at other times come as unexpected grace. So this freedom to doubt, you might think of it as the freedom to wonder and wander on our way to wholeness. This is a precious gift, as is a compassionate and empathetic witness that we can offer to each other in spiritual community. Rather than being a barrier, this kind of doubt is a doorway to greater connection and meaning-making. It also allows us to plan for what to do when we inevitably make mistakes, knowing that making mistakes is vastly different than being told that we are a mistake. But to want to learn and become more and better agents of justice and equity and compassion doesn't mean that we are less now or less worthy of love now. And this is so important to remember today because there are all manner of traumas to resolve in the world, not just the religious kind. And in a time of rising authoritarianism, while it is attempting to secure its power base, there will be more traumas coming. To be able to be rooted in our values, our sense of compassionate agency and spiritual accountability, and working together, collaborating towards healing and wholeness. These are liberative, these are redemptive, these are salvific acts worthy of our commitment and of our faith. So, beloveds, in reclaiming your sense of agency, in reclaiming whatever part of spiritual community you can and will reclaim, I wish you thriving on your journey. I wish you many good questions and letting go of certainties that restrict and limit you. I wish you comfort for when you are afflicted. And I wish you never to be so completely comfortable that you stop asking questions, stop trying to grow. And I wish you only the fruitful disruptions of healing, like a tilling of soil that makes it ready for the garden planting. I wish you care and community and healing, transformation. May it be so. Will you join me in a musical response? Rise in body or spirit, and we will sing hymn number 34 in the hymn of Though I May Speak with Greatest Fire. And as a cheat sheet, it's the same tune of our children's recessionals.
this we worship and offering.
Thank you. Please be seated. One of the ways that we offer empathetic witness in this community is by offering a time in the service for communal joys and sorrows. Those joys we carry in our heart, or the concerns that in sharing the weight of which I have, we invite you to share in this service. You may come up and drop a rock in the bowl or light a candle if you wish. Oh.
Hi everybody, my name is Michael. I'm grateful here, grateful to come to you this morning. It's been, thank you. I've shared with you guys that it's been a pretty rough spring, and first of all, my gratitude is to you for giving me a place to be here, to share these things. And this is kind of a victory lap because I've been happy to share this with other people, other places. But one of the things that happened this spring was a friend of ours became very ill. And on Thursday night, Adrian and I were able to actually speak to him on the phone, and what a relief it was to hear his voice, but also to hear that he still had a sense of humor. We were cutting up with each other just like old times, and I just wanted to share that good news with you guys. Thank you.
Anyone else have a joy or concern? Come on.
Lighting a candle from the road because this song spoke to my whole soul and and a rock for
So I'll start with joys. My concern is kind of silly. For joys, we're pretty much finally moved in, and this has been the most stressful move. It's really hard to move with a 5-year-old and 3-year-old, no matter how much help you have. But it's okay. It's hard. We're pretty much done. And then I also, I just got accepted into the doctoral program in Southern. So, very excited. My concern is it's silly. State testing starts next week, so as a teacher, I'm really concerned. But also, like, I just kind of keep not just my students, although really think about my students because this test is really good. But I think a lot of times, like when this time of year starts, like we kind of forget like they're kids. They're not like little machines, and the expectations about these schools. Like as a teacher, I fight with my principal all the time because she's very much the scores have to be perfect, and the scores have to be this, and then teachers get graded on scores. If you don't know, it's like 40% of our personal grade, like as a teacher in our evaluations. So she's like, this needs to be perfect, and they have to be perfect, but they're kids, and like anxiety has gone up, depression has gone up. I typically teach middle grades, but I'm in 5th grade right now, and I see how much they're struggling because there's so much pressure. There's no time to be a kid or have fun because the teacher that teaches with me that does, I do English and social studies, she does math and science. She gives them homework every day, like every single day. She gives them weekend homework. They have homework during the week. She keeps them from like when they have their like art time or like PE, you know, she keeps them from that. And she's like, they have to be perfect on this test. And I'm like, they're not robots. They're gonna like, I hate to say it, but they know what they know now. Like we're only reviewing and refreshing. So just kind of think about all the little babies, because also, I believe Bullitt County, they might have already started or they're about to start, because I teach in Chatham, but for all of Chatham, say testing starts. So if you see a kid kind of having a meltdown in the store, or they're staring at their phone like this, it's probably because they're just trying to get some relief, because this testing is a lot.
For what it's worth, I don't think that's silly. I'm pretty sure standardized testing is a function of eugenics, so.
Yeah.
I think Paul was going to come up and talk about his sister, our friend Rebecca Ziegler. Just to let you all know, she's in Memorial Hospital now in Savannah. She had to get a couple surgeries for a severe breast sore. So we are asking any of you who know of what you know of as a decent skilled nursing facility or a long-term acute care hospital that she might be able to go to, because she's going to need very meticulous care of this thing to get it healed. So we want her to try to go to as decent a place as possible after the hospital, which they said they might release her as soon as Monday. So if any of you, have information about anything in the region as far afield as Rankin, Augusta, Savannah here, let me know. She was in good spirits yesterday. We went to see her. She said she's getting great care there. She seemed fairly upbeat considering everything that's going on. So keep her in your thoughts.
Hive mind activate. Do we have anything in the chat for concerns or joys that are shared? Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to share today? Okay, then I will light one more candle for those joys and concerns that we carry in the solitude of our hearts. Will you join me in singing our choral invocation to prayer, Spirit of Life, by Carolyn McDade. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now we will invite some announcements. Do you have anything that you would like to share about upcoming events with the community?
Hi, announcement from Borough Pride this Wednesday. We'll be celebrating our LGBTQ plus graduates at Lavender graduation, which is going to be in the Honey Bowen building. Doors open at 5:30 Wednesday, did I say that? Doors open at 5:30, the ceremony begins at 6.
Awesome. Wednesday, Lavender graduation, doors open at 5:30, ceremony at 6.
And it's free, and we will feed you.
And there's food. I can share that we will be doing our April multiculturalism programming for the church this afternoon at 12. We'll meet here in the sanctuary. We'll be doing an anti-racism inventory. So please come if you're curious. Stay. There'll be some interesting conversation.
We know prickly blackberries obviously don't need any rain to grow, and so we've got some ripe blackberries out on the fence, the long fence that's around the kids' area. If you go back as far as our Blue Moon metal sculpture, they're on both sides of the fence there. They're okay. I mean, they're not super sweet, but get the blackest ones.
Take the vines with you.
I guess I need to announce, I think Sherry is not here at the moment, but we will be having 2 funeral services next weekend. On Saturday, the 2nd of May, is a service for Terry's, Lowry's brother. And I don't know the time yet, but 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock, thank you, Terry, thank you. It'll be at 2 o'clock here. You're all invited to come and celebrate his life on his birthday. And then on Sunday, there will be a funeral for our own Janice Cawthorn, and I hope that Sherry knows. I don't know, we got an announcement this week on email. I suspect everybody received it. If you didn't, check your email.
I believe it's 2.
Maybe at 2 o'clock. That sounds about right. I think that's right. Yes, Bob.
Yeah, Sherry told me that the celebration for Janice is kind of a drop-in event from 2 to 4. She didn't want a formal funeral.
Okay.
It's more of a party for Janice to come share memories and all. So anytime between 2 and 4, the butterfly release is at 3:45.
Okay.
Because I wanted to clarify that with Sherry.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. But there will be food at both events, and please join us to honor both of these people.
Thank you. Anybody?
I'd like to invite you to my classes this week. We're doing restorative yoga. More time of deep inward going. We put you over blankets and bolsters so the blood flow is enhanced, but the mind gets a really nice reprieve. It's free for use. So Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:30 to 11. So join us.
Thank you, Inga. I'm a fan of those classes, and Inga, the Mind Body Center has all of those supplies. You don't need to bring. If you don't have them, Inga can provide them in the Mind Body Center. Okay. Well, we will have coffee and fellowship after the service as well. I hope that we will stay in those who are going to participate in the anti-racism inventory. Please just be back in the sanctuary by 12. I will offer you these words of benediction. This is an excerpt from Prayer of Reconciliation by Anne Barker. We gather with a hunger for reconciliation. What is done cannot be undone. What is done next must now be done with care. We gather because we are hopeful, because we have visions and dreams of a brighter future. Every injury we may have named and yet still carry, those we haven't, can't, or dare not speak aloud, those we are not ready to make public, those still not recognized, accepted, understood. These are the wounds that seek replacement, wounds we will tend cautiously, applying the salve of understanding, forming scars that mark our history without disfiguring the future we might share. May the strength of this time together help us move forward. May the wisdom of this experience help us know our path. May we have the courage to return as often as necessary until our way is clear. May we have the perseverance together to see it through. May we cause it to be so. Amen. And if you're inclined, I'm gonna leave this up until until noon. It's just a little page of resources and recommendations I put together, some book recommendations and things for people who would like to investigate recovering from religious trauma more on your own. If you have trouble scanning the QR code, just let me know and I can also email you the document. Okay? Thank you, beloveds, and let's go have some coffee.